Hi friends, it's Fluffy Toad. So before we get into this video, I just want to make it absolutely clear that this is theoretical and completely conjecture. There's going to be a lot of assumptions made about this rotation, and with all that out of the way, I'm going to go into what assumptions we're going to be making. The first assumption that we're going to be making is that there is no variance between any of our abilities, and they always do the same amount of damage every hit. The next assumption that we're going to be making is that detonation doesn't care about the true immediate future and instead just looks at current DPS and extrapolates that into the next 5 seconds. What this means is that if there's 4 seconds or 3 seconds or 2 seconds of wildfire or any of your debuffs on the mob, it'll still look at that damage at a snapshot and it'll extrapolate it out to the next 5 seconds and pull that 5 seconds of damage back to the present. The next assumption that we're going to be making is that our abilities can't crit. Since we don't know the crit rate for this character, it's easier to just cut it out. The next assumption that we're going to be making is that our Firebolt is the only thing that can generate our resource embers. Searing Blaze can generate resources, but I'm unsure how much it regenerates, so it's just easier to cut it out entirely. We will also look at spells as instantaneous instead of having travel time. So the moment we finish our Firebolt cast, it's going to do damage instantly. Apocalypse won't have a lob effect, it'll just hit the targets instantly. And the very last thing we're going to be looking at is it's going to be completely single target. This just helps me simplify the math and also the rotation. If you're able to make a multi-target rotation, then send me a DM on Discord and I'd love to look through it. First things first, we have to look at our toolkit in order to understand what we need to prioritize. So we have a generator, a spender, 2 dots, and then our CD. Let's first look at our CD. If we look at Wildfire, we know that it's going to increase the tick rate of our abilities by 30% for the next 9 seconds. This means that during this time period, we want to maximize our dot damage. And if you look over here at our spender, it takes 5 seconds of future dot damage and brings it to the present. So with this in mind, we want to make sure that our dots are rolling and we have our spenders available. When we're entering combat, we're going to want to cast 4 Firebolts. The reason why we're going to cast 4 is because we want our Ember resource fully saturated before we enter our Wildfire phase. Then, we're going to cast Engulfing Flame first since it has the most uptime, then Searing Blaze, and then afterwards, we're going to be using APOC. Wildfire is going to be our next ability, and then we're just going to be spamming our detonations. Once we run out of detonations, we can cast a Firebolt into another detonation, and that'll be our entire Wildfire window. After our Wildfire window, we're just going to be in our filler rotation. Currently, it looks like it doesn't matter whether you use detonation or Firebolt during this period. If, for a short moment, we break one of our rules, which was to assume that there was no variation between any of our spells, then spamming Firebolt might actually be better during this period, at least until you get APOC back up. The reason for this is detonation is only going to be able to do 5 seconds worth of damage with 2 of your buffs up, and they both do the same amount of damage. If there is variation, and at the moment dots do not appear to have variation within them, then using Firebolt may be more effective. With this in mind, we're going to be spamming Firebolt until APOC is back up. Once APOC is available, we're going to be dumping all of our Ember resource into detonations. Then, you're going to double cast Firebolt into 2 detonations. Afterwards, it's just going to be spamming Firebolt until your next Wildfire window. Alright, and that's going to be the rotation for this class for the moment. Here is the spreadsheet that I came up with. It has all of the numbers that I've worked with and the rotation that I kind of showed you. I've made some tweaks since then, but I've been too lazy to actually adjust it, so keep that in mind. It should be roughly the same amount of damage. Alright, thanks for watching. See ya!